No one can get a mortgage. Fears of villagers on the Heathrow's third one-way site. We're going to read into this more from the iPaper, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the iPaper with the headline of "No one can get a mortgage. The fears of villagers on the Heathrow's third one-way site." House prices in some of the last villages in Greater London are permanently depressed, long-time campaigners have told the iPaper. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, of course, this is regarding, obviously, Heathrow's third runway, and we have discussed it already in various different videos, one or two videos and live streams already. But I also think hearing this a bit more from the people that it affects the most, and this has been going on for decades, this campaign of politicians who always want this third runway. Now, for all the people who say that we need this in terms of economic benefit, and believe me, I'm somebody who wants us to have economic growth, or the growth that Labour keep banging on about, because I do believe it will benefit the UK economy in the long term. I just don't want it to be at the expense of other people. Personally, I don't like the fact that it's going to affect our climate as well. That I don't see in any way, shape or form how this government can justify of us meeting our climate obligations while also approving a third runway for Heathrow, or any of the airports for that matter. I just don't see how the two click. I just don't. That's just me personally. But the story in this one we're going to talk a bit about is the communities, the homes, the villages, the people who have lived there, who have always lived in these areas, and how their lives are consistently, their whole lives are about protecting what they have, the homes that they have, the livelihoods that they have on a regular basis. And it's so easy for people sitting on the outside to simply say, oh, just move them into another place. Well, it's not as simple as that. You know, for some of these people, it's been their whole homes, it's been their livelihoods. And you're just basically telling them to just get up and move. It's not as simple as that for some of these people. You know, there may be some people who are used to moving from one home to another, and they're used to moving from different towns or cities and whatnot. These people don't have that experience. They don't have that understanding, some of them. Yeah, because they've lived here all their lives, or their generations have lived there all their lives. That there is a wealth of history within these towns and villages that you and I do not understand. And so it's so easy for us to ignore all these factors. These are people's livelihoods we are taking away here for the possibility of a third runway that may or may not improve the economy. There's no guarantee that a third runway would guarantee us growth, would not guarantee more money. There's no guarantee of that. It may do, it may likely do, may reports say they do, but there's no guarantee. That you're doing it at the expense of these people as well. And we have to remember about the people in all of this, which is something that is always forgotten about when we discuss things like this. So let's read into this. So residents living near Heathrow Airport have described the downward spiral their historic village has suffered over the decades as they vowed to keep fighting the construction of a third runway. So Robert Barnstone, 31, lives in picturesque Harmondsworth, in a village in Hillingdon, West London, next to Heathrow. It's one of the few villages within Greater London, and it is quite a close-knit community. It's difficult to find in this day and age, he said. PhD student told the iPaper that he has been a mood of gloom in the village since Rachel Reeves announced her support for a third runway. The Chancellor said it was badly needed to help boost economic growth and it would help bring in 100,000 more jobs. Now, I'm not going to deny that it would bring in more jobs. I'm not going to debate that at all. I agree that in building a third runway would create more jobs. However, an expansion would decimate people's communities, Mr. Barnstone said. People's schools, people's places of worship and general sense of community will be destroyed. Another Harmondsworth local, Justine Bailey, 72, has lived in the village for almost 30 years and is chair of the Stop Heathrow Expansion SHE. She feels the community is in downward spiral with house prices permanently depressed because of the permanent cloud over the community. She explained how multiple governments have discussed a third runway over the years, including in the 1980s, 2009 and 2018. There are certainly buyers who would like to come and live in Harmondsworth, but they can't get a mortgage, she explained. No one will lend them the money. And so the only people that are buying the houses are spectators who are paying below the market rate and then turn the houses of multiple occupationary. They are chipping away at us, small bits at a time, she added. Reeves said on Thursday she wanted to see expansion completed within the decade, telling the BBC that she would get through a combination of support for the long-delayed project for ministers and reforms on the planning system. Heathrow Airport was pledged to pay 125% of the market value of our houses plus taxes and reasonable moving costs for any home bought under the compulsory purchase order. The airport was also pledged to provide noise insulation for properties affected by noise pollution and establish a community compensation programme. Hundreds of homes in Harmondsworth, along with the properties in the villages of Siskin and Longford, would have to be demolished for the expansion to proceed, and many residents would be forced to comply with compulsory purchase orders. Towns such as Colnbrook, Pyle, Simpton and Harlington would be within a compensation scheme area. However, people in towns such as Holden, Langley and Ivor would receive no compensation despite still being affected by noise and air pollution and the knock-on effects on housing prices. The compensation and compulsory purchase plans were just not good enough, Miss Bailey has said, as they would be based on the current market value of properties, which has been artificially deflated by the threat of airport expansion. This is true. This is absolutely true. If people know that in your area there's going to be another runway built, the house prices in that area are gonna drop, because why would you want to live there? For the money people will get for their house in Harmondsworth, that won't buy you an equivalent house anywhere nearby, Miss Bailey has said. For a semi-detached 3-bedroom house, you could probably buy a 2-bedroom flat in a 10-storey building block 10 miles away, and that's not a fair and ethical exchange. Paul McGuinness, chair of the Third One-Way Coalition, believes expanding Heathrow, slap bang in the middle of the UK's most densely packed residential region, has always been mission impossible. The residents of Teddington, Middlesex and south of Heathrow insisted that, if anything, the expansion is more impossible than ever. Does it feel different this time around? There are legally binding limitations on the carbon budget that the government now has to contend with. Bob Ward, a climate change expert at the London School of Economics, has echoed these concerns, urging ministers to explain how the expansion will be compatible with the UK's carbon budget and net zero target. They still haven't explained that. They just said that they will, but they haven't actually said in detail. Ms McGuinness said the third runway would well exceed existing carbon targets, considering Labour has already announced that it will give the go-ahead for the expansion of Luton and Gatwick, with the expansion at London City and Stansted airports already approved. On environmental commitments, the Chancellor said that more effective plane engines and the use of sustainable aviation fuels are a game-changer, allowing expansion proposals to proceed. Yeah, you can say this all you want, but it's still not going to change the fact that we are still going to be off our targets by doing so. Despite her claims, Climate Secretary Ed Miliband has previously said Heathrow expansion would not go ahead unless it meets climate targets, while the London Mayor Sadiq Khan remains opposed to the project. Speaking outside a pub in Harmondsworth, Miss Bailey reflects on what she would have thought when she first bought her house 30 years ago. Knowing how much time and effort she would decide to put into campaigning against a third runway. I suspect I would be tearing my hair out, she said, but she cautioned the government not to count on people like her giving up. We have won every fight so far, and we plan on winning this fight as well. The government have been approached for comment. It is a battle that they have been continuously fighting in that area. They will continue to do so, guys. Whether you agree or disagree with the third runway. These are people's lives that we are playing with. Forcing people to move out, and they rightfully so demand significant compensation. If you want to push them out, you've got to give them significant compensation to do so. You can't give them pennies. You've got to give them significant compensation if you're serious about this. If you are serious enough about this. But even money won't push some people to doing this as well. But many governments have tried to propose a third runway and have been rejected. Will it happen this time around? Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that it will finally come round this time around? Do you think these people are fighting a losing battle? They've been fighting it for a long time, and they have still won every battle so far. But will they win this one? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. If you found this video informative or helpful to you, please hit that like button, we greatly appreciate it. And share this across social media so others are notified this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. If you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.